What in the world are you doing? I'm trying to go to sleep.
The key is you want them pointed towards the call. Okay, you see the call right there?
I see the call.
Come here, let me show you something. Also,
Look it. I'm in my long john.
Wait till you see this.
He's touching
I'm pretty sure I shot him in the face. Oh yeah, it's not a bad one.
Yeah. Hey, there you go. Now we both killed grays in my backyard. Loving it.
Dude.
Dude, is that where you shot him?
Yes. Listen, I'm standing here, turn the call on, and so this is something for those of you that want to learn something about killing gray fox in the woods. When it's, listen, you hear that? You can hear a gray fox coming from approximately 2.4 miles away when they're coming through the leaves. So what I always do, and my dad and I used to do this when we hunted back with the Johnny Stewart hanging around our shoulder, you turn the call on for about 30 seconds and shut it off and listen. Because most of the time you can hear them, and I'm not lying, dude. I turned the call on, paused it, waited, turned it back on, paused it, waited. All of a sudden I heard, and I was like, oh, this is happening. And at first I thought he was coming from behind me. So I spun completely around, looked behind me, didn't see anything, and I was like, all right. So I paused it again. As soon as I paused it, I heard him, and he was right here on that side of the pond. And like, I was just like, as soon as he come over, like, dude, never stop. Dead run the whole way around. Till right there. And I shot him right in the face.
That's awesome. Hey, why don't you give me a little bit about that vest you got on there?
Oh, dude, so actually really cool.
Wait, what is it?
This is, not only is it really cool because it's bottomland camo, which is probably one of the coolest camos out there, but it's a heated vest. If you look here, you open this little pocket. Ororo. Ororo.
Okay.
Reach in here, check it out. Bazinga. Things are heating up just like this night is.
Hey.
With Mr. Gray.
How do you like the vest?
More honestly, I run it half the time not even turning the heater on because it's a very warm, nice vest. It's sleek, it's got nice pockets. Check it out here. I got my gloves in there now. And the cool part about this that I like, and compared to other heated vests that I have worn, is the battery pack is so small that honestly it's right here sitting, but it's on your side, but it's small enough that it really is not cumbersome or like in the way. So love that. Also, my Fox Pro remote fits nicely right there when you don't want that light to shine. So all around, I would recommend it to just about anyone.
10 out of 10 recommend.
F&F boy approved.
Hey, there you have it.
What's up, everybody? So first off, thanks for tuning in to another episode of F&F Boys. I'm sure there is a ton of people out there that do demonstrations on how to skin a fox or a coyote or raccoon or whatever. Honestly, just felt like I wanted to do my due diligence because I think it's something that has kind of gotten away. Like, there's a lot of people that are just killing fox, killing coyotes, tossing them, and at the end of the day, we need to use our resource that we have. So, very basic. I'm not going to do anything that you probably haven't seen already on a tutorial video, but for some of you that are new to the sport and don't know about how to properly take care of a pelt, this is just a quick, simple tutorial on how we do it. So, first thing I'm going to show you here is we go in through, it's a very simple cut. So we're going to run a line up here to the anus. We're going to go in around the anus and then another line up to this leg. It's just a simple down the leg, around, down the other leg. So now I will say a lot of times fox is a pretty simple, not simple, but a pretty easy animal to start on. They don't have very thick fur, but I will say they are easier to tear than something like, say, a raccoon. So this tendon here, you want to make sure that you do not cut this tendon. It will save so much time when you're doing this. If you accidentally cut that tendon, this calf muscle will actually come away with the fur, and it is not fun. And it will add an extra 15 minutes probably, well, maybe not 15, extra 5 minutes to your process if you aren't careful and miss that. So once we get one leg down, like I have here, I'm actually going to switch over, put this foot up, and then drop my other leg and do the same thing on the other side. All right. So the tail here, I actually have my fingers poked through here so the tail's loose. But what I want you to look at here is I'm going to actually run a line right down the base of this bone, which is going to make things so much easier when I go to pull that tail off. And what you're going to do is just walk back and forth down the side of this tail till you get down to where we can get the tail skinner on it. But the important thing is you got to just touch this really soft and easily on either side of this bone to let that skin come loose off of that tail, and then work your way right around the back. And you got to do it very carefully, because if you nick that tail, your tail's going to pop off when you go to pull it. And who wants a fox hide with no tail? I don't think I know any fur market that wants one. And then all you got to do is get to where you have a pretty good little chunk of bone showing here, and then this is where we're going to use that tail skinner. It's as simple as you just put the notch right in there, you grab hold, and that just pulls your tail right out. I'm telling you, that's a game changer. If you don't have one, you better get one, because you'll sit here for 5 extra minutes skinning down that tail. So now that we have both legs out, we have a tail out, I'm gonna put the other leg back in. Now we're ready to start ripping. So we're gonna go ahead and go up. And what I like to do is just make sure I have a good line the whole way around so nothing's holding on. Once I have that, and at this point, I'm going to cut these front legs off. I cut right above the knee joint. That's where I'm going to cut this off at. All we're going to do is just take this leg off. You can do this with a knife, but who wants to fight a knife and dull a knife? All we're doing is getting through that bone. And then these are coming off. And now we're ready to just pull. I pull that the whole way down until these front shoulders are sticking out. And honestly, I don't even use a knife at this point. You can just work your thumbs right in this joint right here till you pop through. My thumb's the whole way through. That front leg's just gonna come right off. Same thing on the other side. You're just gonna pop your finger through, pull that front leg out. That's why it's important to cut those off as short as you do, because at the end of the day, this is all you need on your fur when you're selling them anyways. So why waste the time and do all that extra skinning? Here's where we're gonna go back to using a knife, because you're gonna need a little bit of tension to get working around this head. Now, a red fox, a coyote, all of them, they have big ears. So that is what's gonna prevent this hide from just pulling right off. Maybe like a coon or a mink or something with a little bit flatter, rounder head, this hide's just gonna slide right off, versus with a fox or a coyote. There's actually a fragment of a bullet right there. This is actually a pretty good shot. Oh, he was shot right in the neck. Must have been a pencil shot.
Definitely not me. Probably Shane.
Probably a pencil shot. And what you're gonna do is just keep working our way down. Now I will tell you something, little trick of the trade. Look, see this main artery right here? Try to avoid nicking that, especially on a fresh fox or coyote, like something you shot maybe today. This one was shot a couple days ago that we've been keeping out in the cold. But if you shoot them fresh and you puncture that artery, you're gonna have blood gushing the rest of the time you're trying to take this fur off. So just avoid that if you can. And all I'm doing is putting constant pressure on this hide, and it's just walking down and just being tedious and taking your time. Take the extra minute to go slow. The more you do, the quicker you get at it, it'll come naturally. But if you just take your time coming down off of here, you'll avoid making nicks and saving yourself a couple bucks. I remember when I was in high school, I was getting $70 to $80 a piece for a red fox. And when you're in high school, that's some pretty good cash. But that comes down to saving your holes, not making holes.
See that hat?
Oh, dude, check it out.
Oh.
F&F shop coming soon.
Oh, also, forgot about the stickers, vinyl decals. Find them at the Sportsman Show in a couple weeks.
So now that we're down here, here's the next part, what I'm gonna call the next section, your ears. Your ears are right here. And if you are doing this yourself, you'll feel the callus where the ears are. Once you get to that point, all you're gonna do is just cut a straight line, straight down all the way to the skull. And you'll see right here's an ear cavity here. Do the same thing on the other side. Another ear. And then that's where you're gonna continue to work down off of this head. See? Oh, that's a bullet hole that's causing.
I was gonna say you were telling people not to do
it. I missed it, but the bullet didn't. And all we're doing is just walking this. And I like to use these ear holes as a point to just pull down, because next you're coming up on is going to be the eyeball. You want to stay as close to the head as you can, or to the skull as you can, till you find that eyeball, and that eyeball will just pop out on its own. If you get too far away from the eye, that's when you're going to cause hole issues with the eyeball. Matter of fact, I got a little wild on that one, but still it came out pretty nice. This one I actually got so close I cut through the eyeball, which isn't a big deal at all. That'll just pop out of there. And then there's your slit for your eyes. So the next thing we're gonna look for here is this lip. The bottom lip is gonna, or the back of the mouth is gonna pop open right there, you see? Again, I just use that to stick my finger down in, and that's gonna walk that down off. So we're gonna come to the other side, use our ear hole, pop that mouth open. And then there's his tongue, get that out of the way. And the important part is just stay as tight as you can into that nose, and it'll just walk right down off. And then we get to here. Right here, I can see the nose is starting right here. You just cut a straight line down. The nose will come right off. Bottom lip, you don't need a bottom lip. I always just cut them off right there. And then your hide's off. I'm gonna turn this sucker inside out and see what we come out with. What do you think, Lakey? And there you go. That is the grade A Pennsylvania Red Fox. It's ready for the stretching board. So Flesh and Beam is homemade, just a 2x6, and my dad actually sanded it down for me, got me the angle I want. Fur goes on here. So what we're doing is we're actually just taking off this top layer of flesh. Red fox really don't have too much, so that's nice. But I like to use a towel, and I will just put that right here, so I'm not getting my super awesome Aurora vest all dirty.
Say that again.
Aurora?
Ororo?
Ororo heated vest. Got the heat running in here tonight, but I'll tell you what, when I'm hunting, it's nice to have as a base layer. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start up here right below the head. And all I'm gonna do is get started. And I'm bringing this flesh. You'll see this flesh starting to come. And so fleshing beams have two sides. There's a flat side, and then there's a curved side. What you're gonna do is you're gonna start, well, with a fox, you don't really need to use both sides. I just use the blunt side. And all you're doing is starting, and you're gonna see this flesh starting to just walk down. Now, the important part is keeping this blade flat, because if you don't keep it flat, you're going to put holes in your fur. And you can see here, see this color here? That's what you're going for. That's a defleshed section. Every once in a while, I just clean this off. Now, you have to be very careful. Right around the legs is the most tender spot on the fur. And if you're gonna put a hole anywhere, it's gonna be right here in this armpit. So be ginger around that.
That fur is the armpit, I'm assuming?
Yes, that's a leg that's sticking out. So anything underneath this bottom side is very easy to put a hole in. And depending on the size of your hole, you can decide what you want to do. If you put a big enough hole in, I would suggest, if you're trying to make top dollar on your furs, you need to sew your holes. And that's as simple as taking some fishing line and literally just sewing. If you need to take a sewing tutorial on YouTube, I'm sure they're available. But it's as simple as just half hitch, making a knot, starting your weave, and putting a hole, or closing the hole, tightening it up.
That just hit me in the arm.
I saw that. And you can see here, this fox did sit in the back of the truck for an extra day, which is why we have that green color. We're gonna take that off, because if you would leave that rot, that's gonna cause an issue in the long run with your drying process. It's just gonna cause the fur to rot, and then your fur is worth nothing. Sometimes you can even finish that off there like that. Now that hide is going to be significantly lighter. But if you look here, this nice color that we've got versus when it had that flesh that's left on it. And now this guy is ready to go on the stretcher after he gets a bath, because we want to get all this blood off. Otherwise, when you stretch it and it dries, that'll dry on there and it won't be as nice. So he's ready for a bath. So all we're doing is taking this and getting this little bit of blood off. So typically I would use like just a hose, but it's snowing because it's like 15 degrees out and we don't want Dylan's lines freezing up outside. So all I'm doing is just giving him a good rinse and getting all that blood off. So washed, ready to rock and roll. Bring this over here. Whatever stretcher you want to use is up to you. I personally like these metal ones. This one has been modified because the Coyote is actually too long to fit on a regular one. These are actually technically coon stretchers. But run this down. You have to run it fur side in for the first night. Now, the difference between size when you're selling furs, large, extra large, 2X, 3X is all in the length. So the longer you can get your fur, the better. But overnight, you're gonna let them sit and they will look like this the next day. This one was done last night. The difference is, it has to have a little bit of dry. What we're doing is taking that extra time, so the inside is what stays moist. We need this to dry. On a fox and a coyote, they are stretched fur side out. As you see here, this is a finished fur. These are all finished furs. Fur side out when you're done. If you stretch them that way right away, they won't get dry, and you run the risk of ruining the pelt. So what you have to do is, after one night of hanging or stretched, you take them back off and you're gonna flip them right side out.
Is that one we did last night?
Yep.
Did you already say that? I wasn't listening.
So there's a kind of a, you don't want it to be too gummy. So sometimes if they're too gummy, you're gonna let them sit an extra night. But the longer that they sit, the drier they get, the harder they are to turn. So there's kind of a sweet spot there. Typically, I'm doing one night. That's how long I'm letting them sit. And I brush everything. This will turn out absolutely, look at how deep red that this one is. This one is going to turn out absolutely gorgeous. Once it dries and we give it a good brooming, or not a brooming, give it a good brushing, that one is going to come out absolutely gorgeous. So this is going to go right back on the stretcher. And you want to make sure that you're keeping this on here straight. You don't really want it to be offset, because that will also diminish some of the value. All I'm going to do is put that notch right in that nose, pull it down tight, let go of that stretcher. And then I will hit this with my wire brush. All we're going to do is just wrap this. These have claws on them. Wrap it down around, let it eat in the bottom of that foot, and then you can use that to pull down and get tension to get you that extra length you want. And then I will brush this and let it hang. And I usually leave them hang for a couple, maybe a week, week and a half, depending on how many stretchers I need. If I don't have stretchers available, I'll pull them a little sooner. But at the end of the day, that's gonna sit for a week or so, and then all we gotta do is pop that off and add it to the pile. So long and short, that's a red fox. I do the exact same process for all the animals I do. Coyotes are a little bit tougher, so I suggest starting out, especially if you want to start out young. Coon and possums are the exact same thing, and they are worth a lot less. So you run the value, or you can put holes in those to practice, and then move on to your fox and your coyote. So at the end of the day, I know you've seen it before, but that's how we process our furs. And then they're ready to go to the fur auction. So thanks for watching. Appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, I'd appreciate you dropping a like, subscribe, leave a comment, especially for those of you that have probably done this way longer than I have. I'm sure there's some of you out here that have been putting fur up a lot longer. Any tips or tricks you guys have would be helpful for everybody. Don't forget, if you're interested in one of our hats, we're looking at coming out with hats, stickers, and some apparel coming up here soon. So don't forget to drop a comment. Let us know if you're interested. Thanks for watching. Peace.